The Wave is one of the most sought-after trails to hike in the American Southwest. With only 64 people or 16 groups allowed to hike the trail each day, it can take years to secure a permit to hike this special spot. It is worth the effort though, as it's one of the most unique and magical trails I've ever done, crossing over the rugged landscape in both Utah and Arizona on its way to the famous Wave Rock Formation. I did this hike with my friend Chris from Last Adventurer, and here's all the information on the Wave and how to get permits. The trailhead for the Wave is in between both Kanab, Utah and Page, Arizona, and about an hour from each. It's accessed via an 8-mile dirt road that can require high clearance and 4-wheel drive during certain times of the year. You can stay in Page or Kanab and drive in the morning, but we decided to stay at the State Line Campground, which is about 2 miles south, so that we could get an early start on the trail. We're starting at about 7:30. There's 2 other cars in the parking lot, and we are heading to the Wave. A few caveats before we start: do not do this without a permit. They said the fines could be pretty massive and even jail time if you do. Also, if you do it in the summer, be sure to get a really early start, have lots of water, and note that there's no shade and it can get in the hundreds out here. I've been applying for this hike for so many years now, I can't even believe that I'm actually on the trail about to do it. The Wave, guys, this is exciting. The first half mile of the trail goes through a sandy wash, and you're going to want to watch for the cutoff on the right hand side. There's almost no signs on this trail, so make sure you have the picture map that they give you and download the All Trails map. As we're coming around this bend, this is where the cutoff for the trail is, so you'd be looking for it. There's not a really good sign, it's right there. This is what they give you to navigate by, and I have to say, you really got to be paying attention if you don't want to miss that one. All right, we are officially on the Wave Trail. This is where you need to have a permit to access. That way goes to Buckskin Gulch, which we did yesterday, and it's amazing. You can see that up here. After the split, the trail has about 150 feet of uphill, and note that there's about 1,200 feet of uphill on this hike if you go to all the extra excursions that we did. We got a pretty incredible morning out here. Watching the sun come up over the mountains, just the beautiful colors of the desert. This is awesome. At this junction, we are looking for that saddle right there. It's about 3 miles to get out to the Wave, and the page that they print out with the landmarks and photos only has 6 photos to navigate you all the way there. Here's the second sign we've seen on the trail right when we cross the wash. Coyote Buttes North. This way. The trail is heavily used, so it's not too hard to follow in the beginning, but once you start getting up on the sandstone, it can be difficult to know where you're going. After a mile, you climb the sandstone, and then from there, you're basically walking on a slanted sandstone most of the way to the Wave. Just the trail by itself has already been incredible. We're only about 1.25 miles in, but all these cool rock formations, beautiful vast views. This is exciting. This map is definitely confusing. It says look for the teepees, and I think those are the teepees way out in the distance. So, all right, Chris, which way do we go next?
I'm gonna go straight. Seems like a good choice.
Let's do it. I'm really not exaggerating when I say that this trail is a huge highlight and that the views in every direction are spectacular. You can see how big this area is with those people right there. Don't follow Chris, he will get you lost. We already got lost on this trail, but we are making our way back now.
I'm only rated for Earth, not Mars.
All right, we found the next point of interest, and we're gonna go right to the right of that. This next point of interest was the aptly named Twin Buttes, and Chris and I kept talking about how it felt like we were on a Martian landscape as we were exploring. All right, we're on step 5, when it says head to the vertical crevice, which is way out there. From here, the trail turned into a mixture of sandstone portions and deep sand portions. We tried to stay on the sandstone as it was a lot easier to walk on that than in the sand. The terrain of this trail really does look otherworldly. I mean, look at the rocks just stretching out in front of us. At this point, we were about 2.5 miles into the trail, and we were about to cross over from Utah into Arizona, as the Wave Formation is in Arizona. We've reached step 6, which means we should be able to see the Wave. So based on this, it looks like it's that right there. Up to this point, we'd only seen one other group, and you can see them going up the steep section to the right of the frame.
Here's our last part we gotta climb, and then we should make it to the wave.
Like most of the trail, this last section is basically a choose-your-own adventure of trying to navigate between both the sandstone and the sand. I highly recommend finding the sandstone though, as it's pretty steep uphill and hiking in the sand like that is not very fun.
This last section is definitely heavy sand, but that is the wave right there. I'm so excited, the anticipation is building. I'm right there.
While it may not seem like much to most people, I've applied for this permit at least 15 times over the last 5 to 7 years and never got accepted, so this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time.
We made it to the wave. It is windy and crazy, but it is better than I could have imagined. This place is massive. Wow, I'm so excited.
What is there to say about the wave that hasn't been said before? This beautiful sandstone rock formation is one of the most iconic things to see in the Southwest. The way the wind has carved the rocks to look like waves forming is just something you would never anticipate seeing. It's basically 3 small canyons that all connect in the middle, with the biggest one being the one that you enter on. Some sections of that one are about 68 feet wide and it's about 118 feet long. There's also a smaller offshoot to the right that leads out to some different rock formations, and then there's one big section in the back. The first thing that I noticed was that it was a lot bigger than I had anticipated, and that the sun really made the colors show through. You can easily walk around for about 30 minutes just taking it all in. I will say that after visiting, I do realize why they had to keep a quota on this place, as I can't imagine how many people would be here seeing it and how trampled the amazing formation would be with all of the people.
I'm honestly at a loss for words. I have no idea what to say. This place is so much better than I could have ever even imagined in pictures. It's well worth the 5-year wait to get here. Incredible. I can't even describe it. Before we head on, we're having a water break, and can you think of a better spot for a water and snack break than that?
Believe it or not, there's actually 3 or 4 other amazing things that you can see on this same trail if you keep going. Also, just a reminder again that we got our permit checked here, so you definitely need to have one.
We've basically had the place to ourselves, just us and 2 other people, just taking all the pictures for like the last hour, but now we're gonna head up and see a couple more sites and then come back through here on the way out.
Our next goal was to head over to the second wave and then to head up to Melody Arch and a few more spots.
You absolutely have to have a map to follow. It would be way too easy to get lost out here. There's no markings or anything.
As you leave the wave behind, it definitely feels otherworldly walking to the second wave. While the second wave would be impressive on any other trail, it's not that impressive after you saw the main wave. I honestly didn't even know I was at the location at first, but there is one really cool rock there.
All right, to get to our next stops, we gotta climb up the side of this mountain right here.
In this section, you basically go straight up the side of the cliff, and we saw multiple people turn around as it was too steep and slippery for them. It was also pretty windy for us, which was not ideal, but now I get to see how these rock formations were formed.
This is definitely some steep climbing on the sandstone, but we're almost there. Can you even believe how pretty these views are up here? That is so beautiful. Can't you just imagine the Starship Enterprise landing there and finding some new alien?
From here, we had to navigate the slick sandstone along the top of the cliff's edge over to the first arch.
There we go, we made it to top of the rock arch, which is the one that you can see all the way down from the wave. So if we go here, I bet it's a pretty good drop. There you can see the size of the arch with Chris standing right there. That's a nice little arch, and now we're heading on to the next arch and to the alcove, which I'm really excited to see.
From here, it was about a 5-minute walk up and over the small mountain we were on to get to our next stop. The next stop was known as the alcove, and it was basically a small cave that had a sand dune that formed right underneath it. It's a great way to understand how the wind pushes the sand through the area and then it piles up in some locations.
Chris usually says some pretty dumb stuff in the video, but he said that we're on Arrakis right now from Dune, and that's a pretty cool reference. I think I might just stop hiking because I can't imagine going on another hike after doing this one.
Even watching these clips back, I stand by this statement as it's pretty much all downhill from here hiking after seeing such an amazing trail. We continued winding our way back until we found what we believed was the path over to our last arch.
Just another reminder, this stuff is not easy to find unless you have a map and know where you're going. But there's the arch.
Melody Arch is another iconic location on this trail because of how cool the arch looks framing the window that's behind it.
Wow, this is such a cool spot. You have a window right there, and then you have an arch right there, and it's kind of sand in between. So cool.
The arch isn't that big, but the window is a lot bigger than you'd anticipate, as you can see with Chris in this clip. We spent about 25 minutes just soaking in the view in this unique part of the trail.
So worth coming up here to explore as well. We're gonna head back down, see the wave one more time, and then end the trail.
We headed back down the way we came up, which was very steep and slippery, so be careful if you do this. I saw online after I came back that there's actually a loop trail that's longer and goes around the backside, but it's less steep.
Just for some context, there's top of the rock arch. That's kind of the steep section that we came down, and now we are going back to the wave, which is right in front of Chris over there.
When we made it back to the wave, there were 10 other people exploring and the sun was gone, so the colors were a lot less dramatic than they were when we first saw it. Because of this, we walked around for about 10 minutes, took a couple more pictures, and then decided to start heading back.
All right, we're back at the wave, but we got 25-mile-an-hour winds. We got rain coming in, so we're getting out of here. Easily a top 5 hike for me. Chris, what do you think?
Number 1.
It was amazing. Definitely get some permits and try to get out here and do it. We'll see you on the next one.
If you made it all the way to the end of the video, here's some notes on permits. You can apply every month for permits 4 months in advance, and then on the first of the following month, they'll tell you whether or not you got a permit. There are also a few permits that are left for a day before lottery that you can do if you're in the right location to apply for it. More information on all of this is in the description. We'll see you on the next one.